Alright, let's talk about the Federal Reserve, or as I like to call it, the financial equivalent of that mysterious neighbor down the street who always wears a suit, but you're not sure what they actually do. You know the one, always impeccably dressed, always coming and going at odd hours, and you can't help but wonder, what exactly is their deal? Well, the Federal Reserve often evokes the same kind of curiosity and speculation. The Fed is often misunderstood. Many people find it confusing, and it's not hard to see why. Its operations are complex, its language is filled with jargon, and its decisions can seem opaque to the average person. It's at the center of conspiracy theories and political football. Some people think it's a tool of the elite, while others believe it's a necessary institution for economic stability. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in between. People whisper about shadowy figures controlling the world's money supply from a secret underground bunker. These stories are often more fiction than fact, but they persist because the Fed's role is so crucial and yet so poorly understood. Let's be clear, the truth about the Fed is far less exciting than a Dan Brown novel. There are no secret societies or hidden agendas. Instead, it's a lot of meetings, reports, and data analysis. However, that doesn't mean it's not important. The Fed's decisions impact everything from the interest rates on your mortgage to the value of the dollar in your pocket. In fact, the Fed plays a crucial role in the U.S. economy, and understanding its function is vital for all of us. It helps manage inflation, supervises and regulates banks, and provides financial services to the government. So, buckle up as we attempt to demystify this often misunderstood institution and separate fact from fiction. We'll explore its history, its structure, and its impact on our daily lives. The first thing to understand is that the Fed isn't some nefarious, all-powerful entity pulling the strings from the shadows. It's a complex organization with a clear mandate. It's a quasi-governmental organization with a specific mandate to keep the U.S. economy stable. This means controlling inflation, managing employment levels, and ensuring the stability of the financial system. Think of it as a financial referee, trying to ensure fair play and prevent the economy from veering into the chaotic mosh pit of hyperinflation or the soul-crushing depths of a depression. Just like a referee, it makes calls that not everyone agrees with, but its goal is to keep the game fair and orderly. Now you might be thinking, that sounds like a lot of power for one organization, and you'd be right to be cautious, and you wouldn't be entirely wrong. The Fed does wield significant influence, but it's not unchecked. The Fed does have a significant impact on our lives, but it's not an unstoppable juggernaut. Its actions are guided by a board of governors and are subject to oversight by Congress. There are checks and balances in place, and its actions are subject to scrutiny and debate. This ensures that while the Fed has the tools to manage the economy, it also has the accountability to use those tools responsibly. So, how did this whole Federal Reserve thing even come about? What were the circumstances that led to its creation, and what objectives did it aim to achieve? Well, picture this. It's 1913, the Titanic has just sunk, and the U.S. economy is about as stable as a unicycle on a tightrope. The country was facing a series of financial crises, and the need for a central banking system was becoming increasingly apparent. Financial panics were as common as handlebar mustaches, and the country desperately needed a more stable financial system. These panics often led to bank runs, where people would rush to withdraw their money, fearing that the bank would collapse. Enter the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. This piece of legislation was a response to the financial instability that plagued the nation. It aimed to create a central banking system that could provide liquidity in times of crisis and regulate the money supply. This landmark legislation established the Federal Reserve System as the central bank of the United States. It was designed to be an independent entity, free from political influence, to ensure that it could make decisions based on economic conditions rather than political pressures. Its primary goal? To provide the nation with a safer, more flexible, and more stable monetary and financial system. This included managing inflation, supervising and regulating banks, and maintaining the stability of the financial system. Essentially, they wanted to prevent the economy from having a full-blown meltdown every other Tuesday. The Federal Reserve was tasked with being the lender of last resort, providing emergency funds to banks in distress to prevent them from failing. The Fed was designed to be a decentralized system, with 12 regional reserve banks spread across the country. Each of these banks would operate independently, but under the supervision of the Federal Reserve Board in Washington, D.C. This was meant to ensure that no single region held too much power. By distributing the power across different regions, the Federal Reserve aimed to represent the diverse economic interests of the entire country. Think of it like a pizza. It's divided into slices, but ultimately, it's all part of the same delicious pie. Each slice or regional bank has its own flavor and characteristics, but they all contribute to the overall stability and functionality of the system. Now, before you start imagining a bunch of guys in powdered wigs arguing over interest rates, let's be clear. The Fed has evolved over the past century. It has adapted to the changing economic landscape and has incorporated modern economic theories and practices. It's had its share of successes and failures, learning from its mistakes, and adapting to the changing economic landscape. From the Great Depression to the 2008 financial crisis, the Federal Reserve has played a crucial role in navigating the country through turbulent economic times. But one thing has remained constant: its core mission to foster economic stability and promote a healthy financial system. The Federal Reserve continues to be a key player in the global economy, working to ensure that the financial system remains robust and resilient. Now let's talk about the Fed's relationship with the US government. This relationship is complex and multifaceted, often compared to a dance where both partners must be in sync, yet maintain their own rhythm. It's a bit like that awkward family dinner where everyone's trying to be polite, but there's definitely some underlying tension. The Fed and the government have to work together, but their goals and methods can sometimes clash. The Fed is technically an independent entity. This means it operates separately from the direct control of the government, allowing it to make decisions based on economic data rather than political pressures. It's not beholden to the whims of politicians or the latest tweet storm. This independence is designed to help the Fed focus on long-term economic health rather than short-term political gains. However, it's not entirely autonomous either. The Fed must consider the broader economic policies set by the government and how its actions will interact with those policies. Think of it as a delicate dance between two partners with sometimes conflicting goals. The government might want to stimulate the economy quickly, while the Fed might be more concerned with preventing inflation. The government, with its focus on elections and short-term wins, might prefer policies that provide a quick boost to the economy, even if it means risking long-term stability. Politicians often seek immediate results to show their constituents. The Fed, on the other hand, takes a longer view, aiming for sustainable economic growth. It looks at the bigger picture, considering how today's decisions will impact the economy years down the line. The Fed's independence is crucial. Without it, the central bank could be swayed by political agendas, which might not always align with the best economic practices. It allows the central bank to make tough decisions based on economic data and long-term goals, even if those decisions aren't politically popular. This can include raising interest rates to curb inflation, even if it slows down economic growth in the short term. However, this independence doesn't mean the Fed operates in a vacuum. It must still communicate and coordinate with the government to ensure that their policies are not working at cross purposes. It's accountable to Congress, and its leaders regularly testify before lawmakers, explaining their decisions and responding to questions. This transparency helps maintain trust and ensures that the Fed's actions are in the public interest. It's a balancing act, to be sure, but one that's essential for a healthy economy. The Fed must balance the need for economic growth with the need to keep inflation in check, all while maintaining its independence. The Fed provides a crucial counterweight to short-term political pressures, ensuring that the long-term health of the U.S. economy remains a top priority. By maintaining this balance, the Fed helps to create a stable economic environment where businesses can thrive and individuals can plan for the future with confidence. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe for more financial news you can use.